Hi, I'm back with the 25 books 2025, recording this one in 2025 in well, hey, London. Now, for those who know, I literally had to move books aside for this because I'm just doing them all basically in a row. Basically, right now I'm doing the 27 books 2027 and still in 2025 because hey, it's how I roll in the Shire. Okay, so Jacqueline Wilson, Picture Imperfect, library copy just came out. Literally just come out this book. Now it's a sequel to the Illustrated Mum, which came out in I think 1994, and about Dolphin and Star and Marigold. Okay, about a mother with bipolar. Now that book is absolutely tragic. It was turned into a TV show starring Michelle Collins as Marigold, which is on YouTube. Worth a watch. Anyway, Picture Imperfect, and this book is bleak. Okay. Now, it is a long, long blurb, so I'm going to just summarize. Dolphin Westward spent her childhood as a sporting character in the story of our beautiful, wild, volatile mother, Marigold. Now 33, she's painfully aware that not much has changed. She lives in a tiny bedsit, works in a tattoo shop by day, and collects an illustrated month on police stations by night. Dole yearns to climb out of the rut she's stuck in, but she has no idea where to begin. Could Garner Lee and his daughter Ava be her chance for a wholesome new family life? Or maybe a steamy romantic roguish actor Joel is just what she needs. And what about the offer for my sister Star, now successful doctor, to move to Scotland and live with her young family? As the choices threaten to overwhelm her, would Dole fall into the same extra, so you fall into the role of extra, someone else's story once again, or find the strength to forge a brand new path of her own? And this is obviously Jacqueline Wilson, Jacqueline Wilson, who I've met and she's lovely, is now writing for an adult audience. This book here, by the way, has swearing in it, okay, which is actually quite interesting. I mean, Jacqueline Wilson swearing, she like, I mean, she did the sequel to Girls in Love, but I've never actually read those books. So, anyway, this is typical Jacqueline Wilson, which deals with generational trauma, and this book is bleak. This book opens up so bleak, okay? It opens up with Dolphin, so just in the foot for the middle, getting a call from Gatwick Airport because Marigold has gone to the airport to have a and obviously won't let her fly. Right, all over again. Interesting too, can I just say that she's called by the airport, okay, who called her daughter and didn't call an ambulance or the paramedics. It's like basically security have called. Right, security. And this bit here, security officer Gatwick Airport North Terminal. Marigold's tried to fly to Scotland. They won't let her. However, security would have called for a paramedic first. They would have called an ambulance. If someone is kicking off as much, okay? Right. And this bit here, okay? Right. I suppose the police could collect her and pop in the cell for being drunk and disorderly, but she seems a nice lady. She aimed to give a criminal record, okay? The nice lady actually had a criminal record as long as an illustrated arm, but wasn't telling him that, okay? So what do you want me to do? I asked, though it was obvious. Could you come and collect her? He asked. You should see the state she's in, and she's your mum after all. Okay? And even then, she has straight away on page 2 this victimhood complex running through this novel. Okay? She has another daughter. I'm a second daughter, second by birth and second best. Okay? And the fact is, when Dolphin, or Dole was talking about her life, okay, this bit here, and he makes it clear how the Illustrated Mum book ended with a touch of optimism to it. Oh, by the way, this review, I'm literally doing it in 10 chapters. This book is 25 chapters, so I'm just reviewing the first 10 chapters, and then the next 10 chapters, and the last 5 chapters, and then edit it all together. I thought I'd do it that way. This is only a first 10 chapter, first part of it. Okay. Right, this bit here. I'm 33, the same age as my girl when she ended in hospital for months. When she came out, she seemed to be so different. We thought it was going to be all right. We'll be together again. Marigold and Star and me, but it didn't work out that way. There's so many ups and downs that Star and I were in and out of care till we turned 18. Star seemed to do well in the system, relieved she had to look after me all the time. I never really coped. I just ate for Marigold. She meant the world to me back then. Right, and she still does, in spite of everything. Okay, she hates her mother. She hates her mother, but she's still always there for her. Right. It's like, it's very, very twisted, the generational trauma that is running through this. And one thing, okay, it's Star now lives in Scotland. Star is now a doctor. Star escaped. She absolutely fled from the scene. And it's quite interesting too because well, she's offered Dolphin an out, but interesting the terms and conditions we're going to get to. So the thing is, as Star cannot, as Dolphin cannot get to her mother, she asks her new neighbour Lee, okay, to drive to the airport. Drive to the airport to pick up the illustrated mum in question, okay, the illustrated mum. And the thing is, okay, it's one thing is this about Dolphin is, intentionally or not, she goes out of her way to really kind of sabotage Star. Now, little things which she doesn't mean, but she does it anyway. Like, Star doesn't want Dolphin to give Marigold any pictures of the baby, let her know where she lives, let her know her address, let her know her phone number. But it doesn't change the fact that due to Dolphin's actions, Marigold is wound up trying to get a flight from Gatwick to fly to Scotland because she knows about her new grandchild, Chrissy. Right, here we are. This is when, okay, she bumps into her Steve, associate Steve, okay, at a tattoo fair. There you go. Star's still up in Scotland. She's a fully qualified doctor now. Okay, would you believe it? She's married to another doctor, and they just had a baby boy. I bet this strong attorney certificate around his neck for him to teeth on. Right. I always felt so anxious as soon as the words were out of my mouth. So I've been so insistent that Marigold mustn't know, but I reason the chance of Marigold herself bumping into Steve were minimal. Right. Okay. But, and of course, Marigold is in the road of an absolute meltdown when this transpires. An absolute meltdown, of course. And it's screaming the Kate about her Mickey, who is Star's father, going on about that. And interesting too, it's the way, okay, the way Dolphin sees the world. It's her victimhood complex. Now, when Marigold is stopped by security who won't let her fly out because she's not in a condition to fly, she calls her father Michael. Her stepmother picks up the phone and refuses because her father is actually ill. Michael's ill. Interesting too, okay, the fact that the original illustrated mum ended with the idea that Michael tried to get custody of Dolphin. It never happened. And I'm not exactly sure to the reason why yet, okay? I've not got that far. But interesting too is, I'm going to be truly honest, I do not like the way Jacqueline Wilson has written men in this story. Right. I really, really don't. The men in this book, now, for what we can know so far, okay, you've got Lee, her neighbour, who she's forming an attachment to. You've got her boss at the tattoo parlour, who gets really kind of up close and comfortable, but he's still like a protector, but he still gets a little bit too close. He is kind of misogynistic how she's written the men in this. The men are basically written as useless. Right. That's it. The thing is, okay, is this about Dolphin is how. First of all, is how she enables Marigold with her low key, not that low key resentment towards Star. For Star, okay, for after her basically being parentified into raising Dolphin, right? You know, just scarpered off to St Andrews up in Scotland. Who, when they were out to visit her, you know, basically she changed her accent, she took out her piercings, she started to speak a little bit posh, right? Try to fit in a little bit more. Obviously, she's going up there, okay, with such a shitty childhood that she had. Kind of blame her, okay, for having imposter syndrome and wanting to be someone new. How could you blame her for a childhood, okay, shitty as, you know, courtesy of Marigold's actions and the lack of support? Right, here you go. Right, this bit here is also, once again, an example of Dolphin's enablism. Right, here you go. I grabbed her purse from her and opened it. It contained a long ago crumpled photo of Mickey with arm around Star, another photo of Star and me as a kiss, just in Marigold's clothes, a voucher for a free cup of coffee, and an old cinema ticket. Also had a credit card, but I looked at it carefully. It was months out of date, and someone else's name on it anyway. Right. As I'm going to buy you a ticket to Scotland, is it? I said. It might, she said, or some might have dropped one by the ticket machine. Right. And the thing is, Marigold is practically begging money to go to Scotland to see her grandbaby, Mickey's grandbaby. Obviously, mentioning Mickey, who's not been met so far as I've actually been reading in this book. Okay, up to chapter 10. And is then further on. Now, I wonder if this was a moment of Marigold trying to remove herself from the sphere. Is when she's at the train station and she kind of falls or throws herself down some steps. She's actually busking, trying to get some money, singing the Proclaimers 1,000 miles to see my grandson. Okay, ending that. And then when Dolphin's trying to get her to go, she throws herself down the stairs, has an episode, winds up in hospital, and is sectioned again. Okay? Really, really do not like okay about Dolphin is that she is so passive aggressive towards Star. Like this little bit that occurs when Marigold is basically busking, trying to get money to go to Scotland before she decides to fly and falls flat on her face, and breaks her ankle, plugs her face up. Okay, this bit here, right? It's when okay, it's like you don't know where she is. It's like that was lying itself. I wasn't lying about this. Star had lived in several different places as she and Charles climbed steadily up the medical ladders. It was already a consultant at the Dundee Royal Infirmary, and Star worked in a big medical practice as a women's health expert. They lived in a 4-bedroom house in the west end of Dundee. 4 bedrooms. They obviously earned a good money, and Charles' family were generous. Right. Okay. It's like, oh yeah, this little thing like, oh yeah, look how great Star has it. Star grew up in care, remember her too, was parentified by her entire family, right? Raised Dolphin, studied her arse off, even after living in care, got 10 GCSEs, went on to study medicine in Scotland. It's like she's earned every bit of her success, but Dolphin is so passive aggressive towards that. So passive aggressive. Okay? And when Dolphin finally calls Star to say what happened to Marigold, okay? Okay. Right, it's for here. Here you go. Oh, Christ, but she's in hospital now, and they're looking after her. Yes, but aren't you worried about it in the slightest? She's just a pathetic bid for attention. Remember that time she covered herself in wet paint? And I was the one who's left to deal with it when I was a kid. You clearly have to live with your precious father. Right, that didn't last long, did it? I said spitefully. I felt like the sister in the fairy tale spitting toes, but I couldn't stop myself. Right, it's kind of like, remember that actually, hold on. If you actually remember the illustrated mum, right, it's Star wanted Dolphin to go with her. Mickey wanted Dolphin to go with them as well, but she said no. But the thing is, Dolphin has now rewritten it into her head as, oh, you went for your precious father. Dolphin had options, but she chose to stay in Marigold. She's a child who chose to stay with her mother, and it went tits up. Right. But the fact is, her victimhood complex has basically made her rewrite history. Right. Always mentally making Star out to be the bad person for leaving. Right. And when she says, okay, it was a bid for attention, yeah, most probably was. Most probably was. And this bit here also, okay, is when Star finds out that Dolphin basically, no, sorry, Marigold knows about the baby Chrissy. Right, this bit here. I didn't tell her, someone else did, and now she's so desperate to see him. She's going on about being a grandma. She seems so thrilled. I know it's not really in her right mind when she's manic, but for goodness sake, why is it so terrible to want to see your grandson? Right, and the thing is, at this point, Star hangs up on her. Star's privacy has been violated. Star has a right to be pissed. Right, it's do not tell. Her one rule was, do not tell anyone where I am. She told her friend, who, and it got back to Marigold. Right. It's like, well, I told this one person, but she's not going to find out. Of course she's going to find out. That's how it works. That's absolutely how it works. And in this, by the way, in all this, Dolphin works in a tattoo parlor. She is a freelance illustrator. She basically designs all her own artwork. Gets put out on TikTok. She gets quite designing romantic images, and people actually come to, her parlor to get all tattooed. And but the thing is that once again, Dolphin's victimhood complex is really, really coming because he had a generational trauma. Really, really runs through this book. Okay, like it's when she goes to visit Marigold, who's been sectioned. Okay, and it's been here, right? Please be kind to my mother. I said, trying to sound calm and reasonable. Imagine you're the one in bed suffering with a mental illness. Nurse looked at me. Imagine if you were the one dealing with the patients who need watching all the time, and all any others in the day room, even the jigsaws off the table, more them outside having a smoke was strictly forbidden, and my only hope is a girl to get out of her wits sobbing in the kitchen, because it isn't like the Peppa Pig books by doctors and nurses. A good nurse always feels compassion and empathy for her patients, but have to lay down the law too. Right. Yeah, it's like victimhood complex. The victimhood complex in this book really, really runs through. In all this, by the way, is that Dolphin designs a tattoo for a comedy and tragedy like mask for an actor called Joel. It's when it starts to come to the story. She's also with her neighbour Lee, who the one who drove her down to Gatwick, and they're starting to build up a friendship. He's divorcing his wife. He's got a daughter Ava, who's starting to come into the story as well. And when Star does finally come down, it's interesting too. Finally see Star. Now Star has she now lives in Scotland with her husband Charles and baby Christopher or baby Chrissy. And the thing is this, okay, is when once again Dolphin is always trying to enable Marigold, and it is quite tragic. But this bit here, right? You couldn't wait to leave home, I said. I know, and I hardly ever came back because I was going to let her drag me down. She might say she loved us, but she never put us first. Spent my entire childhood with my stomach clenched, wondering what was going to happen next. Couldn't believe in that maybe she'd change, try hard to be a proper mother, stay on a medication. Right, but she didn't. Marigold didn't do any of that. Now, the illustrated mum ends an optimistic note, but there's no optimism in this. It does go through a lot of generational trauma running through this book. And the thing is, it's also, when it comes to Star, what you learn from her is also she's got imposter syndrome. Now, remember, she married a man who's quite upper middle class, a man called Charles, he has posh friends. And the fact is that to get the life she wants, to break away from her illustrated mother, is that Star is essentially, she has got permanent imposter syndrome, okay? When she talks, okay, about her friends in Scotland, okay, right, I've got new friends. We take it in turns having supper parties, and before I got pregnant with Chrissy, I used to go to Pilates with a couple of books down the road from us. They're all in my book group. They call themselves the book group buddies. And we go on holiday sometimes with Charles's two best mates to miss school days and their wives. And there's all the old uni crowd. So heaps of friends, I say, my voice hollow. When I name my actual friends, and I tell them stuff, I always feel like an odd one out. They will cover it up well. Exactly, she covers it up so well. She covers it up so well. Because how can you relate to someone like who grew up with the childhood that Star had? Where you people who've got no idea, okay, what it's like to live, where you Marigold bakes cakes and they're going to go stairs so they've got nothing to eat. Having to go to McDonald's, okay, basically try to scribe a meal. Right, having to go hungry. Having to deal with manic episodes. Right. So it's absolutely tragic. However, one thing is that it's interesting to see, okay, what these girls have inherited from Marigold. Now, one thing is that Dolphin has inherited her martyr complex, her victimhood complex. Marigold has a very strong victimhood complex. It's all about me, it's all about Mickey, so everything else in between, okay? And the fact is, okay, is that Star has inherited her manipulative streak. At this juncture of this view Star is very, very manipulative. When after she comes down, they go stay in a nice posh hotel, okay, at the Grange. They have a lovely dinner. They will get pampered. Everything else in between. She turns around to Dolphin and says, "Come to Scotland with me and be my nanny. Be my nanny in Scotland." Right now, remember, it's interesting too because as Star spent her entire childhood taking care of Dolphin, when that Dolphin has now got to take care of Chrissy, the baby. Right. And it's not what Dolphin wants, and I do actually expect her at this juncture to actually speak up when it goes, no, she doesn't want to move to Scotland and live in that 4-bedroom house and be a nanny. That's not her. Right. Doesn't know what she wants, but that's definitely know what she wants. It's like, what would the situation like if my sister lives if she's the nanny? No, doesn't want to do that. But the fact is that um when Star visits Marigold, and Marigold at this point you'd think that she'd be interested, and there's one point, okay, she says, "Oh, is that Mickey's baby?" It's like, no, it's Mickey's grandbaby, okay. And the fact is that Marigold isn't really that interested due to her medication. She's not that interested. She seeks out the actual exchange. But Star, after she goes back to Scotland, is a bit manipulative with this juncture at this point, and says this, right. Star sent me a photo of Chrissy. I hurried to the hospital. His eyes are wide open, staring directly at me, looking so cute. Star had written underneath, "I miss you, Auntie Dolly. Please come and live with me." Right. It's like, yeah. Interesting too that Star inherited that Marigold's military streak. Right. to get her sister to be her living nanny. And at this juncture, Lee's with his daughter Ava in the bedsit next door. The walls are very, very thin. So, and this is where the first part bits. And now I'm going to read chapters 11 to 20 or 21. I think 11 to 20, and then fill it in. But at this point, it's so bleak the generational trauma that's running through this book. Now, I knew Jacqueline Wilson. She doesn't really do happy endings for her characters. Okay, look at Tracy Beaker. But I did not expect this. I did not expect this. Parentification, negative streak, Dolphin constantly enabling her mother. Right. The fact is, it's interesting too because their relationship is very, very abusive. Right. And the fact is, Marigold is an abuser. There's also a bit in this book as well, which I didn't talk about, is when Marigold's living partner, Ricky, Mickey, we get it. She goes over there, and then Rick is so goddamn awful. There's a woman in his bed, another woman, and there's, can I say the word? There's paraphernalia, okay, all over the place. And Dolphin threatens to kick him out and then call the police because of all the stuff in it, because it actually is Marigold's bedsit, I'll say her flat. Interesting too is how the men in this book are written. Now you've got Dr. Gibbon, who doesn't seem to actually act like a typical doctor. You've got Lee, who at this juncture, it's interesting the dynamic coming in, okay, being a really good close personal friend to Dolphin, letting him cry on her shoulder. Interesting too is when Dolphin talks about her relationships, okay, previous relationships, and they're all turned out to be quite abusive, turned out to be quite nasty. You know, it's interesting too how she's fallen exactly into the same kind of emotional relationship trap as her mother used to, right? And Lee at this point, I think, is a little bit too nice. As soon as he meets her, he drives up to to Gatwick to pick up the mother. You know, makes tea. There's a cry on his shoulder. Now, at this point, maybe it's nice, but a bit too nice. But I do not like how she's written the men in this story. There's something a little bit off about all the characters in this, right? About the men, which does come across as quite misogynistic. So, anyway, chapters 1 to 10 down the picture and perfect. Gonna finish the rest later. Right. Okay, part 2 of the Jacqueline Wilson Picture Imperfect. Recorded this one in Great Yarmouth. Now, interesting too because in the 100 pages on chapter 10 to 20, a lot actually happens within Star's life, and it's quite interesting too because it flashes back to things that are post the illustrated mum, which kind of shows the dynamic and what actually turned Dolphin into the way she is. She actually is, she openly is a very, very tragic character. But the next chapter opens up with Lee and Ava. It's very, very interesting too because she goes around the place for dinner, she plays games with them, she draws for them. But the thing is this, is that Dolphin is such quite a tragic character. She seems eager to latch onto any aspect of love and just grab onto it. Now, in that respect, you can see how much like Marigold she is, and also in a very, very toxic light. Now, she spent one day with Ava and Lee, okay, or combined, okay, and it drops this line here. Here we are. I wasn't sure this was the case in real life, but I'm glad she could make it happen when she was pretending. It was the sort of thing I'd done as a child. It was so strange. I love baby Christopher, of course, but my beautiful little nephew. I identified much more with this girl. She was like the daughter I never had. A daughter I never had. She's only met Ava once, and suddenly she's latched onto her as a potential daughter. But it's interesting too, is when Lee turns around and says things like girlfriend or partner, she backs away. Now, it's like she'll only have like a relationship on her own terms or that kind of thing. Now, Lee, the way he talks regarding Dolphin is quite an infantilizing way. It's like, due to her, basically, Dolphin's body is very boyish, if you will. It's very, very boyish, but but the way he talks about it, it's like, it's got like a kind of fetish. It is very, very strange. And when she goes to visit Marigold, okay, Marigold being her typical passive aggressiveness, we get this bit here, right? So where's your sister and my grandson? Star had to go home to Scotland, remember? He was only here for 2 minutes. Why you want to speak to her? Well, why should I? My eldest daughter, the effing doctor. Right. She looks down on me. And she looks down on you too, doll. Right. And the baby gave me a look like he didn't reckon me for a grandmother. He didn't see him, all that fuss about him, and yet when he's here, you wouldn't even give him a cuddle. The most contrary woman in the world. Right. Well, I can't help it. I have a severe mental disorder, Marigold said. Or maybe because you won't take your medicine. Oh, F off, said Marigold. Right. Yeah, exactly. Her life is so bleak. And when, okay, it comes to, you can see Marigold's relationships and how it has trickled down and damaged Dolphin. It is really tragic. Here you go. It's one, okay, she's talking, okay, because now Doll's in a relationship with Lee. And here we are. Well, who wants Mr. Nicey anyway? They're not like you to give you a thrill, Sir Marigold. A thrill? I pleaded with contempt. You're going out of your way to find men who will let you down. But they give me a good time too. You wait, doll. Maybe one day you'll fall heavily for someone, and then you know you don't give a damn about how they treat you. You put out with anything just to get that high when you're with them. So how was it with Mickey? Now Mickey in this book, not been mentioned, not been seen. Now to be honest though, I have sympathy for Mickey. I actually do. Now you meet him in the Illustrated Mum, and he is the dad who kind of takes Star with him. Actually, does try to get Dolphin to go with him as well, and it all goes badly due to his girlfriend in Brighton, and it all falls apart. And Mickey is basically like seen unseen daddy forever. But from Mickey's point of view, he had a brief relationship with a woman who essentially won't let him go, became obsessed with him. I mean, little bits, okay, about like when they go to the pantomime when Star and Dolphin were little, every time Cinderella sung Someday My Prince Will Come, good song, she substituted, Marigold sung along and substituted the word Prince of Mickey. Someday my Mickey will come. Right. It's like, yeah, he's not seen so far in this book, hey, I might have done 100 more pages, but this woman will not let him go. Right. An obsession, an absolute obsession. And also, when Dolphin is talking to Marigold, okay, about her life, and the fact is this, right, is how dismissive Marigold is. Right, this bit here, right, about, they're talking about, Dolphin's dyslexia, right. Why don't you give me extra help at school, I asked Marigold. Are there special schools for dyslexic pupils? There are. Don't ask me, Marigold is shrugging. Can you take me some education specialist or something? They might have learned to. Then I might have learned to read properly and I could have studied and got a proper qualification. Don't be daft, though. You always were a bit thick, she said. Right. Well, many high intelligent people have dyslexia. Ollie told me that. I studied it when he was doing his English degree. Oh, Ollie, by the way, is married to his husband Ross. They live in the countryside with their cat on a farm, wearing cardigans, living the best life. Hey, living a great life. Hey, I won't turn that down. Not the cardigans, by the way. Can't stand them. And the thing about this is about Marigold is that when you're talking more, okay, about her life. Now, she grew up also in care. She was raised by nuns. And this bit here is also making it clear that she's also an unreliable narrator herself. Here we are. Right. Just by nuns again. The brutality escalated over the years. First it was shouting, then it was smacking. Now they're all flicking their whips. That is next year they'll be punching her senseless. Right. Right, it's like the unreliable narrator that is Marigold, the absolute unreliable narrator, and also in this. Now, this is serious disturbed, and I'm going to be vague in the detail, okay? But there's another woman on this ward called Letty, right? Letty, who is there due to the fact she has an ED, right? And essentially, Marigold has got a clause into her. Marigold has basically become like her surrogate daughter. Right, so surrogate mother. There's a surrogate daughter, but one who will be compliant due to fact decay due to her ED. Right, and the fact decay that Letty herself is estranged from her own family. While she's there, Letty has been dyeing Marigold's hair, doing her nails, basically being, the daughter, but the compliant daughter. Right. Yeah, it absolutely is. Here we are. Her wrists were so thin they seemed to snap if she had touched them. She said she had terminal cancer, but she's in Primrose. It was probably an ED. I've changed the word. I'm not going to say it on YouTube. It's very kind of you, I said, as she dunked her head slyly. Look after each other, Letty and me, said Marigold. Don't we, girlie? Yes, we do. And the fact is this, is that girlie. Now, Letty is a grown woman, but Marigold is infantilizing her. Due to Lee's dialogue, he's also infantilizing Dolphin, if you see. Right. Generational trauma really trickles down a lot in this family. Right. They smiled at each other and held hands. I gasped at them. I knew people formed close relationships very quickly in hospital that are camaraderie, but Marigold rarely made any friends, especially not with women. What's going on with her? Almost like this little ghost girl. They almost seem like mother and daughter. And it actually makes Dolphin jealous. She's been replaced. She's absolutely been replaced. And also in all this, Dolphin loses her job. What happened was when she was designing a romantic tattoo of a dragon, she accidentally tattooed a 13-year-old who had her sister's passport, who was 18. Right, and they look very, very similar. And so she loses her job. Okay, because someone comes in from Surbiton of all things. Yes, sorry, so Surbiton's quite a rich area. Skin about, you gave my 13-year-old daughter a tattoo and what you sacked. I will go to the police, use your license. As a part of me, they're thinking, go to social media and put it out there. Your daughter stole money that was for the housekeeper, by the way. Yeah, of course. Yes, so you pay your housekeeper in cash under the table. Yes, of course you do. Yes, you probably underpay her as well. She stole the money, came down to London, got herself a tattoo. And suddenly it's Dolphin's fault. It's actually not. But she loses her job. She can't get a new one. And one thing I actually will give Dolphin this, okay, is that she is resourceful. She is resourceful. She goes out there and finds a new job for herself. No, I like that about her character. She doesn't sit on her laurels. She gets herself out there. And well, you can never forget that Dolphin is dyslexic because little tricks. Now, one thing I also liked as well is, as someone with you know, is you create tricks to get through the day. Okay, so with her, she says to people, I haven't got my glasses, I left them at home, can you read out the small print for me please, that kind of thing. So she's created little tricks to get herself through the day, some with severe dyslexia. I like that aspect. That is actually Jacqueline Wilson doing her due diligence on the tricks that people who are on the spectrum to get through the day. So dyslexia, dyspraxia, that kind of thing. So good, nice little touch. So she gets a job with a famous actress, okay, and at summer school, actually designing art, okay, doing art. And she fits in right at home. But when she tells Star this, okay, here you go. Here you go. I told Star the whole story about the Surbiton girl. She was outraged that Brian would jettison me like that. So it all worked out. I'm really keen to start the summer thing. I want to do it start. I really think I might be quite good at it. But it's not like a proper job, doll, for God's sake. Why do you be so stubborn? Please come and be Chris's nanny. It'd be brilliant, it'd be great, and we could be together. I really miss you, Star said. I miss you dreadfully, but can't rush up to Scotland just like that. Well, why not? Well, Marigold, obviously. How many times you can't give up your own life watching out for her? How many times I have to say it? Star said forcefully. She needs me, Star said. Sorry, she needs you, Star. She needs me, Star. I need you, she said. Please think about it. And she turns around and says, oh, not sticking around for Lee, are you? I thought you'd better than that. You're actually quite pathetic. It's like, yeah, I need you. I need you. So everyone needs Dolphin. What the hell, okay, does Dolphin need? What does she want? She's figuring it out herself. And I absolutely like that. And also the fact that she's in her mid-30s and actually figuring out her life. Right. So when she starts working again with Henrietta and Joel is there. Now, Joel was the one who was doing her tattoo. So she did his tattoo, he's like comedy and tragedy tattoo at the beginning. Joel is there. And the fact is, she sees him, and he's got this quasi relationship with Henrietta. Right. Henrietta Knight, who is a semi-famous actress, big soap star, and now she's running a school. Okay, a summer school. Here we are. Right. I seen Henrietta was a strong swimmer and at least twice my size. Around the corner I stopped short, gasping in shock. There's a man wading out of the pool, a slim man with longish dark hair, intense blue eyes, a fat stomach, and deep grooves on either side leaned down another dark triangle. He had a light tan and a mask tattoo above his heart. Him. Hello. I think this is your Mr. Darcy moment. Or aren't you a Jane Austen fan? I certainly wasn't reading Jane Austen, but I've seen Colin Firth in the old Pride and Prejudice serial. I shrugged hard to look cool. They could feel my face burning. And also, at this summer school, Dolphin thrives. I love it about her. At this summer school, she's actually listened to. Her and the children do fantastic artwork. They design the backdrop for the play they're putting on. And one thing again, the trick she uses, someone with dyslexia, is how she recognises people, more like their personality traits than their, like, how to remember their names, which is a really, really nice touch. Right. I know someone with severe dyslexia, very severe dyslexia, and she can't remember faces. She physically cannot remember faces. She recognises people from their shoes. Right. It's weird, but that's a trick. When she meets someone, she remembers the shoes they wear, and so she remembers them. Right. Yeah, she recognises them from their clothing, or something similar, because you can't recognise their faces. So, final part of the horror story that is Dolphin Westward's life. Okay, so chapter 20 says she's living her best life at Lavender Hall, being an artist, being an artiste, helping out the children, and it starts off really strongly. The second week at Lavender Hall was more intense. Everything was more focused on the performance of the play on Friday night. I got the main characters to perform it for me as we finished the backdrop and constructed a reasonable, relentless cave for the dragon's lair. So, nice, she's fitting in well, she's getting on really, really well. And the thing is, interesting too about Dolphin is, even though, remember, Marigold actually said to her face how thick she was, that she was such a thicko, that's why she never got assistance. She is really intelligent. Like, when she's talking, okay, about to Joel, okay, here we are. I wonder if your makeup is a brilliant metaphor for your personality, I said, about thinking. Right. How come a girl who has difficulty reading as a literary term like metaphor, he asked, challenging me with his gaze. I quivered. He sees straight through me. I can read. It's just okay. Just my glasses. Okay, the stated, and the funny gave up. Okay, I can't read for Peter. I'm severely dyslexic. Happy now? Feel free to mock, said defiantly. Be surprised about how many actors are hopeless readers. Right. This is to be ashamed of, Dolphin. I couldn't make up my mind if he's being sincere or bloody patronising. I gave him a tight smile instead. So that's her and Joel. Her and Joel. And the fact is, okay, when Marigold said you get addicted to people with bad personalities, okay, well, it is all over. It is all over for Dolphin because she is entrapped by Joel Fortune's god awful personality. Yeah, absolutely. But the fact is, even though her relationship with Lee, who is also being very patronising and like to tell her what to do, is very kind of more subtle about it. Essentially, it's like he's using his daughter. Okay, he's like, oh, of course, Dolphin wants to spend time with us. Of course, she wants to come to the zoo. And even how he describes her body, it's in very kind of patronising and fantasizing kind of language. Okay, right. The fact is, it all goes really well for Dolphin when, after she has to do a mural and then correct it, she's showing off her mural work to a member of the family, Miranda, incidentally. And this bit here, right. Do you paint murals professionally? Miranda's mother asked. I said to her, wonder if he'd been serious. But I was on the verge of laughing, but something stopped me. Could I? May specialise in murals for children's rooms. What about those child-centred drawings I prepared a couple of weeks ago that hadn't been used? Might I make a useful contacts for class for the summer school? Could this be a whole new career? I'm thinking of making it my speciality. Might you be interested? So she's heading off to a direction to give her career painting murals. Painting murals. But the thing is, at the after show party, she gets way too drunk. She's dancing with Joel very, very suggestively, and then Lee shows up. And then Lee just in there shows his true colours. Now, it's interesting too. I'm going to get onto it further to the end, okay, about, to be honest, the way Jacqueline Wilson has written men in this story is so misogynistic, it's unbelievable, okay? Right, this bit here, okay, which is when, okay, after Lee catches her dancing with Joel and absolutely pissed. Here we are. Get away from me, don't you dare touch me. How could you humiliate me like that? This is when basically Lee drags her away, and now Dolphin actually throws up in the bushes. I don't really felt humiliated, seeing you dance like a slut with that creep, then letting you kiss him. So he had seen me. I'd hoped he hadn't, but so what if he had? I was burning now, my head throbbing as well as my heart. I hated him talking like that, calling me that awful word. I was dancing with Joe, not screwing him. I could do all I liked. But he wasn't my partner, called me his girlfriend. We weren't in a proper relationship. We were in each other for a few weeks. How dare he talk to me like that? Okay, so it's like only in a matter of weeks this has happened in Dolphin's life. This is a story of a matter of weeks in Dolphin's life. So her must be section, she loses her job, but she gets this new job, she meets Joel, she meets Lee. It's way too quick, way, way too fast. Okay? And also with Lee, the patronising language he also uses as well. Okay? About how Dolphin's enablism of her mother and how she feels needed. And the fact is, even though I hate Lee, he's not wrong in his summation. Okay, right. Right. You don't get to say what I do or don't do. I'm a grown woman, I can do what I like. Until all goes wrong and you want me to look after you, Lee said. That's rubbish. I can look after myself. Anyway, you like to be needed. Lee drew in his breath, like your mother needed you. I feel like you slapped me. That's different, don't you dare compare me to her. I have to help her. Who do you think you were analysing me anyway, like Dr. Gibbon? Marigold's doctor. Right. Keep your voice down. You wake Ava up. Who's this Dr. Gibbon and what's it got to do with anything? Oh, I sighed. Why have to be so belligerent now, telling me off that I was a naughty child? Right. That's it. That's Lee. That is Lee. It's weird, okay, that the way Jacqueline Wilson has written this book is that every single man in Dolphin's life is both belligerent and patronising. Right, even Ollie and Ross. Oliver and his husband Ross, who, okay, now I got this wrong. I thought they were living on a farm with their cat. No, they're living on a flat. They're living in a flat with the cat instead. Okay, maybe that's my mistake, and I'm not in the mood to go back and see if there's like an error here, but I just misread it wrong. Okay, most likely. So I just want to apologise for that. Okay, so when it comes to Ollie and Ross, okay, that actually is nice. So someone who did like the illustrated mum recently reviewed it after all. Seeing them again because they live in their best lives. They come down for Brighton Pride. Oliver and Ross was their own time, which wasn't a surprise. Ollie had always been obsessively punctual when we were children. They were either looking bright-eyed and pink-cheeked, both wearing black t-shirts, smart jeans, and trainers with dazzling white edges. Right, I see you two had a really wild night, I joked. Okay. If I hadn't known Oliver forever, I might have got them muddled up because Ross was similar round glass and had the same hairstyle. He was taller and Ollie was thinner, but seen separately, you have to concentrate hard on which was which. So the fact is that they're absolutely living their best life whatsoever. Okay, they're very, very happy. They're very, very happy. But the thing is, when they're talking, okay, about the future, now interesting, okay, is how Ollie and Ross both say to Dolphin, Lee is great, he's the best thing for you. Basically saying, okay, he's the best thing, give him a chance, okay? But when they're talking, okay, about futures, now remember, Oliver and Dolphin, Oliver and Ross actually been married for 5 years. Remember, Dolphin and Lee have only been together for a couple of weeks and they're discussing futures. They've rushed way too quickly into this to the point of toxicity. Okay, and when okay talking about like future living arrangements, okay, it's this bit here, right? About them all living in one big flat. Okay, I looked around my room. It was crammed and crowded with all my toys and trinkets, and most people would think it a bizarre home for a 33-year-old. But I loved it. It was mine, a truthful reflection of who I am. Then what extended and adapted to make it reflect Lee's taste as well as mine. So how are you going to pay for your rent for your pleasures for me if you can't get another job? Right. And money was suddenly tight, so I could hardly breathe. Start sending money if Marigold got behind on rent, but I couldn't ask her to do the same for me. But it's interesting too at this point, okay, is that Oliver, Lee, and Ross are talking, okay, about the future, houses, that kind of stuff, gardening, normal kind of conversation. But Dolphin breaks away from that and she goes to draw with Ava, okay, that's Lee's daughter. Interesting too, it's she retreats back into childhood moments, if you will, when the adults are having a grown up conversation. Right. Interesting too how she basically is like, in a she has been infantilized, she misses out on the spear and regresses to go draw with a child instead of actually having a grown up conversation. Right. I did notice that. I absolutely did pick up on that. Dolphin is a character that actually needs loads and loads of therapy, but hey, she clearly never got it whatsoever. And then while she's at the doing the closet the things, she hooks up with Joel. She hooks up with Joel, okay, right, in like her basically a studio. They shows my artwork and then they have sex. They have sex, okay. So whilst okay she is with Lee, right, after a couple of weeks, she is now sleeping with Joel. Hey, remember, okay, when Marigold said that, you know, you get infatuated with love, you become absolutely obsessed with it, yada, yada, yada? Well, hey, I did point out at the beginning of this review that sometimes it shows, okay, how similar um, Dolphin is, Dolphin the star are to Marigold, okay? And this absolutely proves it. Here you go. Forget Joel, forget Joel, forget Joel. What's the matter with you? Why break your heart when you know he doesn't give a toss about you? Lee loves you. Surely you could learn to love him back. Yeah, learn to love him back. Right. Well, she doesn't love him back. She doesn't love him at all. Okay. And when she starts to speak to Star about this, okay, Star once again is trying to tell Dolphin what to do with her life. Okay. Wants to get everyone seems to be in control of Dolphin. Right. But the thing is this: this is when you actually speak to Star again. I need you, doll. I thought I found a great nanny for Chrissy a fortnight ago, but she was an absolute nightmare, wanting so much time off, she was hardly ever there. I'm bringing a boyfriend back to the house while she was babysitting. Please come and live with us. I know you'll be so happy here. We're so good with little children. You love Chrissy, don't you? Plus, we're going to have such fun together. We've got heaps of friends up here. Might even meet a guy more aspiring than your Lee. Right. Stop it, Star. But I wavered for a moment. I did love Chrissy, and I love my sister more. We're quite bicker nowadays, but we always had such fun together. I could set up my meal company in Scotland, couldn't I? And that Star probably knew loads of well-heeled parents who fancied Mule in their children's nurseries and playrooms, but I didn't really want Star to be the fixer, giving advice, telling me what to do. She's always taken over any of my projects or games when we were children, but they're not children anymore. But the fact is, it's right. That is a thing. If she does move to Scotland, Star will just basically try to micromanage her life, as she did so often when they were children. Fairness, no. Realistic, hey, I give her some respect. It absolutely is. But the fact is, this book is really, really messed up with what happens with Dolphin next, and I could not believe Jacqueline Wilson even went there. But essentially, she has been sleeping with Lee. She's been sleeping with Joel, and what happens is she winds up pregnant. Okay, and she realizes she's pregnant. Okay, so after she slept with Joel. Right, this bit here. Right. What's the matter? I'm scared I'm pregnant, I wailed. What? We literally had sex a minute ago. Why does it sound so exasperated? Now, I don't mean of this time. No, from the first time we had sex. Right. When I sound like that, you wanted to take precautions there furiously. You're growing up, not a little kid. I seem to be taking care of that side of things. Well, hold on. It's like, you... Yeah, but her excuse is, tried various forms of contraception over the years, but hadn't really got on with anything. I seemed daft to keep on, and when I mostly wasn't having sex at all. It'd be a relief when Lee almost certainly dutifully used a condom. Right, are you sure? Absolutely certain. Hold on. No, hold on. First of all, this is a letdown, okay, from both Joel and Dolphin, okay? Both Joel and Dolphin. They're so lost in the heat of the moment that no one ever mentioned any form of contraception. Now it's too late. Now, they're both at fault for this. All someone had to do, okay, was say, do you have anything? All Dolphin had to say was, oh, I'm not on the pill, or I'm not on the IUD, is it IUD? I'm not on this. Do you have anything? But they both got lost in the heat of the moment. So they're both to blame for the fact, okay, that she's pregnant. Right. Says to him, okay, oh, well, it's not yours anyway, okay, and then storms off. Right, well, after Joel suggests actually ending it, right? And then just says, oh, it's not yours anyway, storms off. You know, at the time period, it most likely is. But then further along, okay, is this bit here, right, okay, hold on. What about that Sunday morning after we crawled so bitterly after my first dance with Joel? We knocked on the door, so sad, so story, and I climbed on top of him, and we had sex. We've been tired and distracted and emotional. I'm pretty sure he hadn't used a condom then. Ollie, could it be your baby? The more I thought about it, the more sense it made. And more I felt guilty that I had sex with Joel less than an hour ago. If I'd have fought for poor Lee. Right. So, yeah, it could be both their children. It could be both their babies. It could absolutely be both their boths, okay? And the fact is, right, is Dolphin doesn't want either of them involved whatsoever. Doesn't want either of them involved in this. And when she tells Star, okay, about this, here we are, right. And even Star says, don't you think the most sensible thing is to end it, okay? Now I want it more than anything, my own baby. I don't tell me when my period might be late. It never is. It just weeks now, and I just know I'm pregnant. Right, okay. And the fact is, it's okay. Well, if you are, you move up, live with us, and look after Chrissy and your own baby. Give you one big family. It's the obvious solution. I do say yes. It will make everyone so happy. I thought hard. Would it make me happy? It would make things so much easier if I did go up to Scotland. I wouldn't even need to let Nee know about the baby. He'd be devastated if we found out there's a 50% chance it was Joel's. Ollie thought I could be really happy with Lee. Staff thought I'd be happy with her. I could try and make myself be happy with either of them, but tears beam in my eyes. Oh God, was that manic phase? I fall into depression. And Dolphin actually wanted to get if she's absolutely bipolar. Okay. So when she talks to Dr. Gibbon, it makes it clear that no, it's very, very rare. It's also very, very unlikely. Also, very likely that your baby will be. It's one of those circumstances too. Its genetic risk is very, very low. But here you go. But when Dr. Gibbon actually talks to Marigold Marigold, so he talks to Dolphin in McDonald's of all things, takes us for Maccadees, okay. It says this to her. This is the most big thing. Here you go. A psychiatrist would say it's a classic case of codependency and maybe need to be needed by her. A good friend would say you've learned to put Marigold's needs first as this little girl, and you're still worrying yourself sick about her. She's trying now to let herself, and maybe you should take a step back. So to look after herself, and maybe you should take a step back and let her have a go. Right. So basically, back away from Marigold. Back away from Marigold, who's now moving in with Letty. Remember that girl, the ED? Now, secondly, I don't even know what the hell the author was thinking. You have a vulnerable young woman with an ED moving in with an individual with bipolar who has used in the past and thinks it's going to be a secure net for either of them. A person recovering from ED and someone with bipolar, that is a hotbed. Who's going to take care of you? If you think that Letty, in a vulnerable state, being so isolated from her family, is going to be in a fit state to look after Marigold, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's absolutely appalling, okay, how you think it's going to end for these characters. Probably not good, okay. And I feel sorry for Letty, who's basically been caught into Marigold's like web, if you will. Right, this bit here. We're planning our flat share, Letty said eagerly. Marigold says I could have my own bedroom. What the hell do you expect? Of course, going to have their own bedroom. I blizzard for a moment. There are only 2 bedrooms, and a small one was supposed to be mine if Marigold needed someone to watch over her. But I never stayed, and I certainly didn't want to. I maybe needed to, so I smiled and saw Marigold breathe out in relief. Yeah, it's great, isn't it, Letty? We've been talking it all over. Might go travelling for a lark. Right. Okay. Go travelling for a lark. Do you remember the circumstances that got Marigold's section in the first place? Okay. This is an absolute disaster for all characters involved. Absolute disaster. And the thing is that when Dolphin finally takes a pregnancy test, it is positive. She is going to have a baby, either Joel or Lee's. Okay? Either Joel or Lee's. And also in this, it's kind of like she has suddenly launched herself way into this. Imagine which she's launching a care mule company for the first one actually getting paid £6,000, well done you. Forgetting that if you're an official business, taxes are going to come after you, okay, for share of that. That's not mentioned, if you will, right? It feels like Jacqueline Wilson, when she wrote this book, didn't think okay about the logic. Now remember, she is primarily a children's author, now writing sequels or grown-up sequels. But reality needs to come in. It's like in the first bit, okay, that the Garrick security call her and not the police, okay? No, they would have called the police, right? Because she's trying to get airside to fly to Scotland to see her grandbaby. In this, she sets up a business, but the phrase tax man gonna knock on the door, okay? And then she finds out she's pregnant. And here we go. It was true, I was pregnant, definitely. I felt tears of joy sputtered down my cheeks and realised what I wanted now. Even so, I tried all over again with another test just to make sure. Right, positive, I had a baby inside me, my baby. My baby, my baby. My eyes were shining again, but it was happiness this time. I went back to Lee and Ava, and all I wanted to do was sit by myself, stroking my stomach. I was so difficult to try to act normally. Lee and even Ava seemed to be blurred. Their voices scarcely audible. I just wanted to commune in peace with my baby. Right, that's the thing, my baby. My baby. Now, forgetting this is that she intends to raise this baby, okay, without either Lee or Joel. Forgetting this, fathers have rights. Fathers have rights in this. So she's intending she basically told Joel, oh, it's not your baby anyway, even though it could be. She also is not going to tell Lee it's his baby Ivan, just raise it by herself. Dads have rights. Now, one thing I didn't like about this, okay, is when she does break up with Lee, remember with the infantilizing language and patronising tone he talks to her with? After he's talking about moving out to a cottage, okay, as part of his job, and they can all kind of, be happy together there. Once again, rushing into this, because the relationship is probably like a month old at this point, okay? Here we are. Right. Oh, and by the way, before I get to that, she actually talks to Michael on the phone, her dad Michael, right, on the phone, and realizes, okay, that his number isn't stored into her phone. So actually he had no idea who was calling, and saying that we can meet up in secret, not actually tell his wife, Megan, right? Yeah, yeah, exactly. I can't leave. Because it's a dream come true for you and Ava, and that's great, but it's not my dream. I want to stay here in my little room next door because it's mine and I love it. I want to develop my mule business and feel free to make my own decisions and do whatever I want. I want to still love to be close friends with you. I'll still spend special time with Ava, but realise that I don't want to be in a proper relationship with you. You're both so we're both so different and want different things. You've been so kind and looked after me, treated me like a special little girl, but I'm 33 years old and start acting like it. So he breaks up. He breaks up, okay, and this is how it ends for Dolphin. Right, he's pissed, but he's going to be moving anyway, okay, to his little cottage. It ends with, here we are, when she's actually drawing, right, and that she's determined to make it work. I love this. I knew I'd have childcare problems like Star, but I wondered if Linda, that's someone, okay, where she's been working with, are willing to help me out. If I had enough meal commissions, I had to pay a proper wage. I'll make it work no matter what. So I drew Marigold and Starbuck in Browning, so I could shade them in sepia, during their part of my life ever since I could remember. Right. And we were family. I loved them both so much. I'd always be there for them if they really needed me, but I couldn't come running wherever they wanted. It was going to be hard, but I might have to give in sometimes, but I could still try. Then in smaller, in pencil, there was Avon, Lee, and Joel. The little girl I pretended was my own, the two men I felt for in such different ways. I knew that one part of my future. I should even create a little dotty given too, because he gave me the greatest gift I ever asked. I said to myself, a little dolphin inside my wrist, so I could look at it wherever I wanted. I was me, Dolphin Westward. I'm going to be fine, whatever. So it ends with her, pregnant, with the father's not involved because she can't be bothered to let them know, okay? Either one of you could be the dad, right? It ends with her with no support network. It ends with Marigold in a very precarious position, moving in with a young woman, a vulnerable young woman, who may not be equipped to deal with Marigold, okay, when it all falls apart again. Do you know, how is this a happy ending? It's not. It's god awful. One thing I've noticed, okay, about Jacqueline Wilson, the older I get, is the misogyny that is running through her books. It's like she wrote a stick to Tracy Beaker, and of course, men in that there was her boyfriend, okay, cheated on her, okay, and then of course her daughter, Jessie's dad, who's not in the picture, right? That's the thing. What's his name? Dean. Anyway, so but the fact is, the misogyny running through this, every single male in this book, okay, is misogynist. It's pure misogyny. Telling the dolphin what to do with her life, being really sexist towards her, being a the only one, okay, who isn't is Dr. Gibbon. However, at one point, he does actually violate, okay, his colleagues' kind of trust, giving away actual medical information in a McDonald's of all things. So, I think was it a McDonald's, but anyway, before, but anyway, that's not the point. It's the misogyny running through this. Why is every single male in this book so god awful? Where's the fairness in that? It's not. It's not right. It's absolutely not right. And it's not even a happy ending. One thing is this, okay, about Jacqueline Wilson. Now she's writing, okay, for adult versions of a book. She did it with Tracy Beaker, The Girls in Love. Never read any of them anyway. Now this with the illustrated mum. It's an ending. Not particularly happy. She's determined to do it all by herself. What? No security, no safety network? No, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, even the fact is, even Starlight to tell her what to do, and the fact is, we never even saw Star or really met her apart from on the phone or when she flew down. We deserve better than that for fans of Star. And then when she talks to Michael, who's like, oh, that's her father, who's like, oh, we can still meet up, but do it in secret and basically not tell my wife because she doesn't really like you. And you think, scared, basically you're as bad as your mother, if you will. Right. It's misogynistic. It's So it's unrealistic. The fact that these girls, okay, spent all their time in care because their dads just didn't, weren't there for them. No, absolutely not. The characters in this deserve way, way better. And the fact is, it's supposed to be Cave out. Well, I expected to see more Cave Marigold in this, incidentally. She's such a central point in this. I mean, and the fact is, even Ollie and Ross, okay, who would come down and say, "Oh, he's the best thing for you. You'd be stupid to let him go." Right? No, I did not enjoy this book whatsoever. Whatsoever. The characters in this book and the illustrated mum deserve way better than this ending. And we deserve to see way more Star. And even more Marigold. So, Picture Imperfect by Jacqueline Wilson? No. I'm not recommending it. Characters deserve better. And also, do me a favour, if you're going to write sequels of your classics, right, have them older, then give them some happy endings. Don't be so goddamn bleak. And stop writing your men so goddamn badly. I'm sick of the misogyny running through your novels, Jacqueline. It's god awful. Do better. Oh, I forgot to add, this is the last book of the 25 books of 2025. 2026 is already done. I'm now working on 2027. So, anyway, please follow my channel. So, for those who actually watched that video, you've been watching a review done 2 years before. Hey, and also the year, okay, Jodie's hair went pink. Supposed to be deep purple. Need to dye it again. Sign off.